What's going on, everybody? This is Dave from This Is Pop Punk Promotions. I'm here with Peter from Over It from Orange County, California / Northern Virginia. How's it going, Peter?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course, really appreciate you coming on. Let's dive right into it. So, when and how did Over It form?
Gosh, Over It formed in sort of an extended moment. Um, let's say a magical smoky haze of adolescent rebellion, mischief, grief, and an incredible sense of discovery. We were all friends previously. I had known Seth since preschool. We used to hang out when we were 3 and 4 years old. And I met the other guys over the years too. James and I went to elementary school together. And then finally, I met Nick in middle school. And when I met Nick, um, my punk rock light had come on. But after we connected, the floodgates burst loose. The day we met on the school bus, I had heard about him. He was this cool up and coming skater kid that some of the girls in my seventh grade class all had crushes on left over from elementary school, believe it or not. Freaking heartthrob. And he came and approached me on the school bus and said, "Hey, I see you're wearing a Green Day Kerplunk shirt. Can I come sit with you?" And joined me in the back of the school bus, handed me his Walkman, and I was never the same. I can tell you right now, the first song on that cassette was United Cigar by Good Riddance. The second track was CPK by Unwritten Law. The third track was Takeaway by Big Drill Car. And I think the fourth song was maybe Bad Habit, Offspring from Ignition, and the list just goes on from there. I mean, he just popped the cork right off of my very eager punk rock sensibilities, and so this was 1993/4, and Over It wouldn't go on to form until a few years hence. But basically, through a series of misadventures, we both had separate bands, separate factions. I made a band with a few older, like Big Brother guys when I was a freshman in high school. That was called Joey's Dilemma. And wouldn't it be cool for that thing to rise from the ashes one day? Billy Thompson, I hope you're listening. And the Nick and his cohort joined forces with a really talented neighbor of mine named Joe Tennant, who was really the catalyzing force for Over It. Over It was his band, and I knew Joe from children's theater in the Mount Vernon, Northern Virginia community. We all grew up in George Washington's backyard, and they wrote songs together. And Nick came to our band practice one day and was just blown away. And so we had this sort of like big brother, little brother, really healthy punk rock rivalry sort of going, a healthy competition. And from that point forward, Joey's Dilemma had a few shows, and Nick would come and be our guitar tech and super cheerleader guy, our best pal. And Over It started playing shows, I think predominantly at the old firehouse in McLean, Virginia, when that was still a thing. This is probably like 1997. Um, and then that summer, Joe unfortunately passed away from a freak allergic reaction. And it totally knocked us all on our butts. We weren't prepared for anything like that. And we were all just kids. And in the wake of that tremendous grief, I think that Nick especially was like, I don't know if I can play music anymore. And it was I unequivocally the very most important thing in our little teenage lives. This secret place of finding new bands and sharing music and feeling like we had this incredible secret that we could turn other people on to in high school or not. We could have our society. Um, but I think because we stuck together, we soon realized that Joe would want the music to go on, and so they really they pulled their hearts together and made Seth the bass player of the band and the lead singer. Turns out he's a fantastic singer. And long story short, they would go on. They did some early recordings, and then Seth got grounded for doing some crazy mischief in the neighborhood. And Joey's Dilemma had disbanded. My bandmates had gone on to college, and I was just sort of hovering, like playing guitar, loving music, and really admiring what the guys in Over It were doing. And Nick said, Seth can't be in the band right now, so like maybe you could come in and fill in for a while, help me finish some songs, and let's see what happens. And the rest is history. Once Seth became ungrounded, we formed Voltron, as it were. And this brings us to, I think this was like 1998, my senior year in high school. We started playing shows, local teen centers, and attracted the attention of Negative Progression Records from Boston with the the reaction to our 6 song demo tape, which we recorded with Kevin 131, who produced this band Goaty Hook, whom we loved on Tooth and Nail Records. And we've gone to a couple of their shows. They were very much in like the Christian scene, but their sound really bled outside of it, and we love them. Um, and Yeah, so we signed with Negative Progression Records and started on a path of very early internet driven networking and self promoted touring, connecting with other bands up and down the East Coast, and eventually making our way across the country where we connected with Lobster Records, who'd become our next label. And, long story short, I'm just going to go through the whole arc of our history and then maybe we can dig into some pockets of it. Long story short, we signed with Lobster Records, made 2 albums, Timing is Everything and Silver Strand, both very influenced by our progress as an East Coast band relocating to the West Coast, because our sound was fundamentally inspired by a lot of West Coast bands. Um, we loved uh, Dag Nasty and Fugazi and Down by Law and a lot of East Coast stuff too, like Gorilla Biscuits and stuff up into the New York scene. But what really fired us up was like Fat Records, Epitaph Records, that genealogy of anything that Bill Stevenson, Stephen Egerton touched, Descendants, all of that. Um, I mentioned Big Drill Car. That for me, that one song Takeaway really like gave my imagination a meteoric push into punk rock and wanting to really write cool songs there. Um, so we continued expanding our network of friend bands and touring community members through Lobster Records. We made friends with guys like Mock Orange, Staring Back, Park, um, A Small Victory, Days Like These, another East Coast band who would eventually come up right behind us. Really great band. And gosh, we were living our dreams in those days. We got to go on tour with so many cool bands. We started joining the Warp Tour in whatever capacity we could. We were in the line with kids pitching our music and making them listen to it on Discman setups before the show started. And that one thing led to another. And when we were on tour with Relient K, NoFX, and Rufio in 2005, we started really courting the attention of some major labels. And we had a half finished album at that time, which we managed to pull away from Lobster Records and release through Virgin EMI. And we made that album with the same producer who had helped us with Silver Strand, Mike Green. And our dear friend Cameron Webb mixed it. We all loved it. And we took it out into the world and made music videos and played a ton of really cool shows. And then our label fell apart, and we were sort of like cast into a limbo of obscurity, from which we decided to eventually start another band because we really didn't know where else Over It could go. And it wasn't at a time yet where the internet had empowered people at the grassroots level to just DIY in a really disruptive manner to the music industry as it had previously existed. So there you go. That's the history of Over It. And now we wait and see what happens.
That's absolutely amazing. It's amazing how I feel like when bands form, it's usually out of like, positive things. Like I think it's really interesting with, Over It was out of like, grief and losing the one
Yeah.
member. And it's interesting how like, that gave you guys the, momentum to just like push through it and just, do what you love to do.
Yeah. Well, they say that grief is love without a place to go, something like that. And man, I wish the world could know more of Joe's magical heart and imagination. He was so gifted. Actually, I don't think I've seen a bass player like him since. The 16-year-old kid, he just absolutely ripped. And yeah, I can still picture him in his Blink 182 shirt with the skipping rabbit on it, just shredding on bass. Um, so yeah, that I think that really became our mission, like carry that love forward, and let his spirit just relish that whole experience.
That's absolutely amazing. Like I feel like it's funny because like picturing all this in my mind, it's like very like 90s and like early 2000s. Like I feel like you don't really
Yeah.
see this stuff as much anymore. Like kids in middle school, like, wearing a Green Day shirt and then another kid like, complimenting and then they go to a garage and they start practicing and then they form a band and then, the rest is history. I feel like that's very, very rare now compared to, how it was in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, well, it's funny now. Like I have these like archaeological dig moments these days, and I have for years now since the advent of streaming music, where I'm like, oh my gosh, that one song I could never find in 1998, and bam, it's right there at your fingertips, which is in one way absolutely magical. Like I probably wouldn't change it for the world. However, it is lacking in that ineffable search, that feeling of like the quest, like you're about to dig up an absolute relic, that's going to mean the world to you. So it's cool to have it all now more immediately and faster and more abundantly. But I think it's important to somehow, um, and maybe this is just what the songwriting process is for now, and maybe also just uh, um, a motivation to just connect with people even more than we did before, especially because the weight of social media and technology is like an inherent counterbalance to connection. If that makes sense, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent a little bit here now, but I think maybe you know what I mean. Um, but you need to find that magic one way or another, and if I'm honest, I'm not sure how people are getting together and forming bands anymore, but I see them doing it online and the feeling is the same. So, you know, more power to everyone having the resources at the grassroots level to really like get together and make an impact.
Whether it's, middle schoolers or high schoolers or college students or 30-year-olds or whatever, as long as people are like forming bands and like, keeping punk rock and,
Yeah.
shoegaze and post-hardcore or whatever alive. I mean, in the end, like that's all that matters.
Yeah, there's this band Hedge, Hedge, from Worcester, Massachusetts, I believe, who I've discovered recently. They're amazing. And I don't know how old they are. They might be my age, maybe a little younger. I don't know. The singer kind of reminds me of Jeff Bridges. But it's a prime example of a band that seems to be doing it entirely DIY style. Um, their Bandcamp gets a lot of traffic. I can see the community that they exist in from their social media presence, and it feels so authentic and glued together, and like they're on a beautiful path. So that's just one example of a band I've discovered in recent years whose approach I love in this modern age.
That's absolutely amazing. So you guys teamed up with Virgin Records. How did that come to be? How was that process? Like, how did it all go down?
Yeah, so some of us may remember the advent of MP3.com, which helped produced the meteoric rise of bands like Rufio, and one such band was from the backwoods of Georgia, if I remember correctly, called the Sloppy Meat Eaters, and they had a fellow in their cohort named Don Rohr, and Don would become a fierce advocate for Over It in the early 2000s. And at that point in time, he was working his way through the Virgin Records family, and worked with a couple of really cool bands. He tried to get Cartel signed, if I remember correctly, and from his like scrappy like touring savvy of working with Sloppy Meat Eaters, he was just really good at what he did, and it was it all kind of came to a head after we played with MXPX at Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. Like everyone from Virgin Records came out, and at that time, our band had secured some really cool management, and they offered us a really modest record deal, and we went for it.
You like, were you nervous? Did you like hesitate, or were you just like, screw it, like let's just, go, balls to the wall, let's dive right in, and then just, the rest is history.
At the time, um, I can't decide now if I should have been more or less preoccupied with writing a hit song to sort of rise to that level of, we have major label resources and major label pressure and major label ambition. But I think the answer is we had just the right amount. We wanted better songs, we wanted to be better musicians, we wanted to play better shows, and we wanted to reach more people. And that to me all adds up to, if you play your cards truthfully, a natural evolution for any band. And you see it time and time again. Um, a lot of people have commented over the years about the changes in our sound and the tempos of our songs, and that's totally fine. Like, there's a reason why ice cream shops have more than one flavor, right? And we still all love all the same music, but the music for us was like a tarot card, and we wanted to read more deeply into it and unfold the poetry of our creativity through it. And we kept making friends with so many new artists and bands and shows of different echelons and feeling that it was inevitable that we would change. So, um, while Over It maybe never technically had a hit song per se, I'm really proud of the work we did on the major label. And I think Step Outside Yourself really still holds up as a cool album. I love it to this day. So I actually forget what the question actually was, but I believe I answered it.
You're good. I mean, me personally, I like, knowing me, I would have been like a little like hesitant just because it's like a big label and all that. But at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like if I want to get to that next level, I need to get out of my comfort zone and do what needs to be done to,
Yeah.
to get there without like, selling out and becoming something that like I'm not, and just like staying true to myself.
Well, here's the other side to it. When it comes to major label business, I think most people are aware now that the major label fiscal model traditionally is entirely slanted toward the label's benefit. Artists are at a tremendous disadvantage because the more money you spend, the deeper the hole from which you must recoup your costs becomes. So essentially, the sales of your mechanical royalty and the sales of records and the mechanical royalties they generate will basically never land you in the black and make you a profitable artist. Um, in that model. And an artist like Over It, with a couple hundred grand in the hopper from making an album and promoting a tour and whatever else we were able to secure from them, essentially becomes a low tier tax write off for a major corporation with investments that are, at the upper echelon of world business. Um, so I think we played our cards right, just staying true, embracing our friendship and the artists that we were connected with at that time, and just continuing to try and dig in and write songs that we thought would connect with people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I learned that you guys supported Goo Goo Dolls on one of their headlining tours. How did that happen? Did you hit them up? Did they hit you up? Like, how did all that happen?
Yeah. So when we were writing Silver Strand, we connected with a really cool manager. His name's Chris Allen. He works with, at that time, he worked with Pat Magnarella, who managed Goo Goo Dolls and Green Day and Weezer. Just a couple of acts, you may or may not have heard of. And this actually plays really nicely, it dovetails nicely into our previous question, because when it came to marketing at Virgin, everyone at the label seemed to really love our album, but they're all like, what is this album? It's like alternative rock, but it wants to be pop, and it's unique sounding, it's very melodic, it's memorable, but I don't know which radio station we should push it to, or will it stick there? And we were like, who cares? We're just gonna go on tour with Goo Goo Dolls. And they're like, but what Iris? Like you don't no. And we're like, yeah, Goo Goo Dolls is a punk rock band. Look back at them. It's the same evolution. It's the same arc of creativity. It's the same connection with people that will last a lifetime. And so we went on tour with Goo Goo Dolls, and we opened up for them for like about a month, I think, in sheds and opera houses and theaters all over the country, and mostly on the East Coast, actually. And man, it was so awesome. We were all just huge fans to begin with, and they were the nicest venues we'd ever played in. And it was such a graduate course in what it would look like to graduate to that level, the technical proficiency, the management of that stage, the engagement with that kind of audience. And the long and short of it was that we just had an absolute blast. We were like kids on a jungle gym, rocking on that big stage, engaging with that big crowd. And we would go into the opera house every night where, you know, other artists aren't going to meet their fans because they're just too big for it to be sustainable outside of like a meet and greet or something. And Goo Goo Dolls actually did a really great job of that. They're so good with their fans. If there is a band to emulate in this day and age from alternative rock or pop, I would put them first, you know, amazing. And they continue to put out the same amazing music, iterating on it over and over again. And that's funny. That's one of their songs. And we went out into the crowd and would hang out every night. And for the weeks of that tour, our SoundScan numbers, which for those of you who don't know, is the somewhat antiquated model of tracking of Nielsen's tracking system for units of records sold, outperformed by a long shot any projections that the label could have anticipated, which kind of made them mad, if I'm honest. They're like, well, damn it, you guys, this doesn't make sense, but fine. You do you. Um, and unfortunately, in 2007, that was that felt like a success for us. It was a novelty in the grand scheme of things. And when the label folded on itself, um, it meant that, you know, another label wasn't going to be keen to pick us up because we were just an anomaly. And so we also lost our booking agent at that time and sort of just threw our hands up in the air, like, what are we going to do now? And that led to just writing and collaborating intensely at home, and eventually the decision through a series of almost new label ventures for Over It to start a new band. And that's how we formed the band Runner Runner, with the addition of our dear friend Ryan Ogren from Don't Look Down and South Jersey, joining us as a singer and guitar player. He had been touring with
Awesome.
Over It as our secret weapon guy for a little while at that point. And thank you, Ryan, for your service. You're amazing.
That's awesome. Would you say you had a favorite moment from that tour? If so,
Ah,
what was it?
yeah, there are definitely a few. There are a few, but I'm gonna go for the easy one. Um, it was, I think it was Erie, Pennsylvania, and John Resnick at that time um, was he sounded incredible every night, but he was having some fatigue and problems singing Iris. And so he would do this thing where he'd kind of let the crowd carry the song a little bit, you know, just like, you know, pointing the mic in that direction, getting the whole audience to support him. And so Ryan and I hatched this plan to just, you know, go to John and say, hey, can we come up there and do that thing with you? Like, we might as well just, you know, add to it and take it all the way home. And he was like, yes, absolutely. So we came up and got to sing Iris with Goo Goo Dolls at a show. Um, just magical, magical. If I think about it right now, it's like I teleport right back to that moment.
I would have been trying so hard not to like freak out and just like be like a fanboy.
I couldn't not do that, so I just did
And
it.
you're just like, if he
Sometimes
judges
you,
me, like he judges me.
well, yeah, judge me for being for
Staying true
surrendering
to who
to the
you are.
magic, man. You did this to me, so deal with it. Is how I look at that.
That's absolutely amazing. So, what would you say your favorite and least favorite thing is about the writing and recording process?
Oh, goodness gracious. Um, this is a really hard question. Uh, I've heard an adage in recent years that writers hate writing and love finishing, and I think there's some truth to that. But I think the part I love about writing and recording is the same thing I hate. It's the, it's the need to it's the need to control your sense of commitment. Because when you're writing, you fall in love with everything you do, but you have to be able to step back and say, is that done? Is that is that thing speaking its soul enough to be recognizable, to be memorable? Do I really love it, or am I just excited to be doing the thing and giving myself a little ego boost? And so it's walking that line between just being outpouringly creative and being the right kind of critic who keeps everyone honest, who keeps everyone open, who's encouraging, and lets the song speak and say, I'm done when it's done. Because it's funny thing, songs do tell you when they're actually done. So you have to listen for it.
Feel like I would really struggle with being like way too anal.
Mm-hmm.
And just like instead of just like letting it go and just out to the world and just like whatever happens, happens. Like I feel like I just would, keep like making like small like details and I just would not just be able to just like stop, like take a deep breath, be like, hey, this is fine. Just let it, rip and see what happens.
It's true. There's always more that can be done. And my voice notes and written notes in my phone are a testament to this. They go on for miles and decades with fragments of ideas and unfinished songs, some of whom may see the light of day. I've come to a place now where it's been 14 years since I released an album. I've done things here and there, but I've been writing the whole time, and I am not inclined to rush a good thing. I sit down and write every day, and if I can write down one thing that I love, I'm satisfied. And when the day comes that a bunch of songs get finished and I can stand up on stage and sing them for whomever is listening, I will be totally exalted and ecstatic in that moment. But for now, I'm just patiently grateful and excited for the memories and hopeful for the future.
I can imagine that it really like works on like your patience and it allows you to, be more patient and take your time and make sure that everything is, done right, makes you a better person, then you can go from there.
Yeah, well, all the great songwriters will say, I didn't write that. I channeled it. It appeared. It just came to me and like pay me, of course, because like I brought it to you, but it's not me. It's something without that comes from within me. Um, and I think that there's a lot of truth to that. But the thing we want from songs is the emotional connection where the words and the music encapsulate a snapshot of a place that another person can go and feel seen, right? Um, and that can help them grow, that can help them dig deeper into the doldrums that have held their life back just so they can feel it and heal it, hopefully. But that's why I'm patient, because I would never rush something as important as that. um, I want my music to help me heal me and then be good for other people. And I think it has for whatever small number of people love over it and Runner and the things that I've done on the side since then. It means a lot to me to hear, you know, we love you, we've seen you, we're looking for you, we're waiting for you, how you doing, where you been, from these people.
It's interesting that you say that because like I tell people this like 25 years ago, like when I was, 12, 13 years old, 2003, 2004, like I would listen to music and I wouldn't really listen to the lyrics. It would just be like the drums and guitars and all that. But now that I'm older and I feel like I've matured to a certain degree and like I appreciate it all more, like I'm able to like really like dive in deeper and like now I feel like I appreciate the lyrics more and I feel like it hits home for me more and it just like, I relate with the lyrics more and it's just it's interesting how things like that, change, how your mindset changes, over time.
Yeah. And as far as like unearthing the lyrics from a genre like, West Coast punk rock, um, there is such a dazzling set of feelings that come from just the music, the riffs, the ripping, the incredible drumming, like beats and tempos and dynamics that just defy the limits of what pop music has shown. That when you finally have the opportunity to like dig down and read Joey Cape's diary, your mind is blown. It's like they're poets. They're punk rock poets.
You feel his emotions,
Yeah, yeah,
which is pretty wild to think about.
yeah. It's cool. I mean, it also um, it does this sort of paradoxical thing of both grounding your favorite artists and making them feel more human, more flawed, more imperfect, more in search, just the way we all are, and just also like raises the pedestal from which they're shining their gorgeous light. Like you love them more and more because of it.
Absolutely. So you're from Northern Virginia slash Orange County.
Yeah.
How is the scene there now? Do you have a favorite local band, favorite venue?
Wow. Um, oh my goodness. I don't know if I have a favorite local band right now in LA. Um, I'm honestly drawing a blank. There's this really cool band. They're not really new anymore, but they're called Cherry Glazer. I think they're from Orange County. I saw them play in my neighborhood at a place called Zebulon a couple of years ago, and I thought they were really awesome. Um, I haven't been to a punk rock show or any show in Northern Virginia in like over 20 years, so I don't think I can speak competently on that. However, I just discovered a new band last night from Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, I think is the right province. Oh my gosh, Canada, forgive me if that's wrong. And they are called Yes Officer. They just made their new album with Greg Wells at Trinity Chapel in Newfoundland, which is an old church that Greg has converted and turned into a recording space and like a not-for-profit music space with various uh, intense purposes and capacities to it. But he's a recording and songwriting guru, so it has this. That's kind of where it's anchored in the technical and music making aspect of the thing. And so I guess this band's been around for a little while, but I had never heard them. Post hardcore, it, uh, the record sounds amazing. The singer has like a bright, um, crystal clear, beautiful tenor voice, but like really powerful in your face kind of energy. And it hit me in the first 5 seconds, kind of like Texas is the reason. And I want to say like early middle Foo Fighters, but like a Texas is the reason kind of presentation, like really bright male vocal, awesome riffs, uh, a drummer that feels like a hurricane kind of vibe, like a groovy hurricane, heavy hitting, big movements. It just really it blew my hair back when I heard it last night. So everyone check out the new Yes Officer album. It's on Bandcamp.
That's an interesting combination. Texas the Reason and Foo Fighters.
Yeah, well, it's like I'm trying to like encapsulate this alt rock space that's like really intense, but really competent melodically. Like I remembered the song on the first listen, and the lyric stuck in my head on first listen. Yeah. The hook is you've got salt in the wounds when the chorus comes, and it's just like really big, and the melody is beautiful, which
I'm gonna
is
have to
like a
go
really
and
cool contrast for something like salt in the wounds, where it just feels bad, you know?
I'm gonna have to go check it out and report back.
Yeah, do it. Recommend heartily.
Very cool. So now I'm gonna ask you some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you as a person. I did this with the other bands. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, first one. Favorite subject in school?
Art. That's where I met Billy Thompson, and we formed Joey's Dilemma. He He was like, "Oh, you melodic punk rock kids, you don't know nothing. I'm a straight edge guy. Listen to Four Walls Falling." And eventually we were jamming Green Day in the back of my Jeep. So, haha.
What's your favorite kind of art? Painting, drawing?
Favorite kind of art?
Yeah.
Um, can I say coloring at this
Yes.
juncture?
Yep, that counts.
I love coloring. It's very therapeutic.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny that you said that because, like, again, 20 years ago, like, I hated art and I wanted no part of it. And I think it was because I sucked at it and I couldn't paint or draw to save my life. But my teacher was amazing, so that made it better. But now it's like 20 later, I'm like super into like, going to like museums and checking out paintings. And like, I've got paintings in my house. So it's funny
Yeah.
how, like, my mentality has changed over time. Like, I've just grown to like appreciate, things like that, like the small details and just like the blood, sweat, and tears that these artists like put into their craft.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing about art. Like no one actually sucks at art. It's a journey that all humans can go on, and it's an infinitely diverse palette of self-expression that everyone can dip their toes in. We don't have to be Caravaggio, you know. It's like it's not everyone's job to be an iconoclast or an innovator, but it is our gift to be able to like express things that words don't and other experiences don't through a symbolic representation of like a mess of colors on a page or whatever it is. And for anyone who's having insecurity about art, I want to take a moment to shout out my friend Sean Harris from the Matches, formerly the Match, well, currently the Matches too. What am I talking about? The Matches live forever. He, after many years of being my favorite artist, became a very successful children's book author and illustrator, and has recently launched a web series, I guess you could call it that for now, called "Let's Make Some Art." So it's for kids, but the kid in all of us, let's say, and it's a safe haven where you can leave all those insecurities and high pressure expectations aside and make some art in really like basic steps with someone who's an absolute wizard at it. So yeah, Sean Harris, thank you.
My 34-year-old kid. That's what I tell people. I'm a
No, you,
50-year-old trapped in a 34-year-old's body.
you got to do something to stay young in this crazy world.
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's skateboarding or, painting or running or lifting weights or, playing music or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. So what's the best vacation that you've been on?
Wow. Best vacation. In 2016, I got to go to Japan for the first time for leisure. Over it, and Runner Runner went to Japan 5 times to play, which was, wow, among the coolest experiences that we had. And I met my now wife in 2014, and the first vacation we took together, big trip, was to Japan. And we just bebopped around the countryside, hung out in Tokyo for a week, and traveled both north and south of Tokyo, doing a lot of just meandering through temples and forests and Japandom. It's just a magical place. I love it so much.
You get to wear one of those, really sick robes and like sit down and like have rice and like tea with the locals or no?
We did hang out with a bunch of locals, but we didn't do our Sunday kimono walk. That's actually on our bucket list for next time. We know where the shops to get them.
I
Yeah,
saw it
and
in
that's
The
the
Last
thing. Like
Samurai.
you,
I'm just like, that looks really sick.
yeah, it's a thing that families and couples and everyone will do on like Sunday. You go and if you don't have, you go to a place, you pick one out and get all dolled up and just cruise around looking gorgeous.
That's got my name written all over it.
Yes, I can see you now.
Was Tokyo super duper high tech?
um, yeah. Yeah, a funny memory springs to mind. After Over its first sold out show in Shibuya, I went to get in a cab and tried to close the door myself, and the cab yelled at me because it was an automatic door. this is
That's
in this is in 2005, I think.
that's wild. I would have been like freaked out. Like, whoa, like
So
what
funny.
was that?
Yeah, fully automatic.
Yeah, I've heard from
Um,
like other people that have been there that like there's like robots like in like restaurants and like, bathrooms. I'm just like
well,
that's like kind of scary.
there's actually a robot themed restaurant. I think it's in Shinjuku or Shibuya. I haven't been there, but it's all the waiters are robots and so on and so forth.
That would scare me. I'd be like, yeah, personally, I want no part of this.
I think it's pretty fun actually. It's just like a
But
robot themed place. But
huh.
maybe they're not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, teachers on whatever floats your boat. So would you rather be able to speak every language or be able to talk to animals?
Oh. Well, since I can talk to animals and I already speak two languages fluently, I'll opt for more languages. Right, buddy?
Yeah, I think either one would be cool. I think it'd be really sick to talk to like a cheetah because that's my favorite animal.
Oh, right on.
And the cheetah could give me tips on how to like run, really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I think cheetah might be your spirit animal, actually, Dave. I see that.
No, well, maybe it's because of the blonde hair,
You have a cheetah aura.
or like a panther, or like a gorilla. Talk to Harambe, rest in peace,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet King.
Yeah.
Any of those would be super sick, but also be super dope to be able to like talk Italian, talk Swedish, German, specifically those ones because I've got a lot of Swedish blood and German on my mom's side and my dad's side,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Russian would be really cool.
Yeah,
But
so we're neighborly in that way. I'm Baltic. I'm a dual citizen of Latvia, right across the Baltic Sea from Sweden.
oh, that's awesome. Have you been
Yeah,
there?
I have, and I have a German last name. So there you go.
Have you been to Germany?
I have. I've been to Berlin and Hamburg.
Oh, that's awesome. Hamburg,
Yeah,
I loved. I loved how
Hamburg's
clean
so
it
fun.
was, and everybody was really nice.
Yeah, in 2018, my brother and I went there and brought our bicycles. We rode all over town. We went to a couple They Might Be Giants concerts. So fun. Hamburg's got a really cool punk rock vibe, actually. Speaking of which,
That's what I've heard. I'm trying
yeah.
to think of the show, the venue that I was at when I was there. I think it was like I forget the name of it. I think it's like something like really German, so like I can't like pronounce it. But it was really sick. It was just like really small, and there was like the stage, then you had like the bar on the side, and then you had a little area where people like, the where the attendees like stood and watched the bands. It was really sick, and it reminded me of like, the early 2000s, and it was just very personal. And I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah. For all I know, we may have been at the same place. That sounds a lot like the spot I went to.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'll have to like find the name and like send it over to you and see if it rings a bell.
Yeah, this is fall 2018. They Might Be Giants tour. So yeah,
Okay, I was there in 2000 and what was it 2014?
cool.
2014 and 2000 and let's see what was it 2013, yeah, 2013, 2014.
Yeah,
Hamburg, Braunschweig, and Saarbrücken.
cool.
All of them were super cool. Like people were really nice. Food was obviously and beer was obviously really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't want to leave. Went back and gained 500 pounds.
I mean, those
It was worth it.
sausages are to die for.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, those
so
suckers are like
good.
this big. They're
They're
huge.
so good. So good.
I'm getting
They
hungry
have
as
to
soon
be
as we're done.
if you're gonna drink the commensurate beers, the size is ridiculous. Like you have to eat those sausages
Oh,
just to
absolutely.
survive.
Otherwise, like one beer and like you're gonna be gone. You're gonna be another dimension.
Yes, it's true.
Next step is going to Oktoberfest. So maybe next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's fun.
That's awesome. So if you had $1 million and you could donate to any charity, which one and why?
Oh wow. Um, Probably Music Cares. Yeah. And I don't know a lot about Music Cares actually, but I know that Music Cares has helped save and redeem the lives of people whom I love and know of. And they're a multifaceted organization that helps musicians in peril. Sometimes if they need rehab or if they are caught in a disaster or they're their livelihood is in jeopardy. It's a place where musicians can reach out, apply, and get support. So, yeah, let's help Music Cares. They've been doing it a while and they're not going anywhere, thank goodness.
Hey, you mentioned music. Sign me up. I'm all about that.
Yeah, there's also a really cool organization called Punk Rock Saves Lives, which I'm hoping to get involved with soon. A couple of guys hit me up last year to invite me to submit any kind of creative writing toward a compilation that they are working on in collaboration with Punk Rock Saves Lives. So I've been trying to like get into writing poetry and think about like maybe contributing some unfinished song lyrics to that. Um, yeah, it's like a mental health awareness um, society, essentially.
I love them. They're one of my favorite organizations. I love what they're about, and
Yeah, really cool.
changing people's lives for the better.
Yeah, man. And also, it's that same thing that we were talking about before of like um, living in reverence of the music, only to discover that the lyrics take it to another level of admiration and humanity.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last question. What are some places in Northern Virginia, in LA, Orange County that visitors should check out?
Wow. So when it comes to Northern Virginia, I always go to the George Washington Parkway. If you love nature, if you love to walk or move, this is a great way to catch a glimpse of the DC skyline and like explore the really beautiful swampy edges, the banks of the Potomac River. So the GW Parkway is a highway that was built by the New Deal during the Great Depression, and it's just a beautiful stretch of road. I think it's like 30 miles or so, but it's like 14 miles from our home to the heart of DC, where Overett grew up in Northern Virginia, and then it extends past there up into Arlington and beyond. So I'd recommend that for some outdoorsiness, and then of course all the great museums, the Natural History Museum, the National Gallery of Art, the mall. It's just it's a gem of my childhood. Like just so many magical memories of going there as a kid, and every time I return, I love it more and more. And as far as LA is concerned, wow, where to begin with LA? I mean, take yourself to Guisados and get some tacos. For those of you who have not experienced Mexican food yet, or think you have because you love Taco Bell, and all due respect to Taco Bell, but it's apples and oranges. Taco Bell exists in its own uh, reverential place. But Mexican food and the influence of Mexican culture here, which is basically a Mexican place, sorry, America, um, it is stunning. It's beautiful and delicious. And other than that, I would say catch a show at the Wiltern, historic Art Deco venue on the corner of Wilshire and Western in Koreatown over here on the east side. Freaking amazing. Overett got to play some great shows there over the years with bands like All American Rejects. I think with MXPX too. Um, yeah, so get some Mexican food, get a show, and then maybe get another show and hike up to the Greek Theater because you can catch some more of the beautiful LA skyline and get a taste of Griffith Park too. There's just so much to explore out here. That's my favorite thing about LA is taking that left turn untaken and finding yourself in a new and uncharted corner of the town that you never know what you're going to find.
You got me with tacos.
Yeah, it's a great place to just stop and stay.
Tacos are my favorite food. So, like, knowing me, I would go there and I'd have like 50 of them.
Yeah, yeah, and they're small too, and there are a lot of varieties, so you've got the right idea.
So then when I come out to see you, we can hit it up and have a few tacos, have a beer too, and then be ready to rock and roll.
I can't wait. Let's do it.
Hell yeah. Can see you, can see my cousin Laura that's out there, and then I've got like a bunch of other like music homies, so kill multiple birds with one stone.
Right on. Let's go. I'll eagerly await you, Dave.
Very cool. Well, Peter, I really appreciate you coming on. Really means a lot to me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time too. Thanks for the attention. And, you know, it's conversations like these that give me more and more certainty that new music and the best times are still ahead. So thank you for doing what you do.
Absolutely. So for the people that are gonna watch this interview later, where can they find you guys at?
We are on Instagram at Over It Band. My handle is Peter Ismunters. That's my name in Latvian. Um, and yeah, that's it for now. Stay tuned.
Well, do what the man says. Go to the websites, buy a CD, buy a vinyl, buy a shirt,
Oh yeah,
support
I
local
should say
music.
there's a link. And sorry to interrupt you. So rude.
No, you're good.
Um, there is a link if you go to the Over It Band Instagram. Check out our bio. There's a link there to the reissue of our classic Lobster, now classic Lobster Records album. Timing is Everything. We released it on vinyl in 2024, and really proud of it. It sounds better than ever. Freshly remastered. People seem to really enjoy it. So now you can hold it in your hand with bigger and better than ever artwork. Um, yeah, we had Kemtine Mohajer do an amazing collage on the inside. For those of you who don't know, he's a wonderful artist and musician in his own right. He's got a couple of bands, Chain Gang of 1974, Heavenward. He's also a member of 303. Um, but he, being an Over It super fan, I contacted him when we did the reissue, and he jumped right on board to help us bring the artwork to the next level. So you can still grab copies of that through our Instagram and order handwritten lyrics and stuff like that. So reach out.
Do what the man says and go and buy a vinyl and support local music. Peter, it was great chatting with you, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Take care.
All right, peace.